one thing that you know about relationships now that you wish you knew when you were younger, what would that be?
Oh God, everything. I mean, well, first of all, I kind of wish that there was there were classes for two things that we'd have earlier in childhood. One is how to do relationships, and the other one is how to learn. It would have saved me a lot of grief. But about relationships, I think this thing that we're talking about in terms of secure functioning, it wasn't until Tracy that I even understood it. I've learned a lot from my failed relationships. And that's why I said to you before that one of the ways we learn, I think I said to you, is through regret. We regret that which we've lost because of our stupid behavior. And it's important because it's the regret and remembering it that keeps us from doing the same thing again in the next time. Sometimes we wish we didn't have to, right? But that's part of learning. Mm-hmm. So I think I wish I'd known more about being collaborative in a relationship and not isolating so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if there was one threat to relationships that you think is unique to this time and age, what would that be?
Our government. And I've been writing about this a lot. What's happening right now culturally, and it's not just our government. We elected our government. We're, what is happening right now in the White House, in the Senate, in the House. What's happening everywhere is a reflection of our culture, whether we like it or not. I consider it a harsh reflection in the mirror. I think what it is doing is changing our ideas about what the truth is, about lying, gaslighting, shifting blame. Hopefully this is going to affect our culture in a way that there'll be a backlash. The pendulum will swing, and maybe in a much more real way than it was before, because we've always had deception in government, but it's never been so blatant, and it's never been so appalling. And so maybe this is turning the nation's stomach enough on the left and the right to maybe the next time we'll expect once again that there be decency, cooperation, and a little more transparency than there is. So that I think is really affecting people right now. At least it's affecting me and the people that I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you spoke to that. Let's see. We talked earlier about this idea of individualism.
Yes.
And how we think in our society that, there's this sort of common myth that you might need to be alone to get strong enough to then be in a relationship. We talked about some of the reasons why that might not be true. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on where that idea in our society might be coming from.
Well, we have the Statue of Liberty, right? But we've taken it very far with, the me generation and, I've got to do it myself, self-made person. This has been in the culture now for a long time, celebrating our I-ness and not our we-ness. And I think we've been paying the price for that. So now I think we're moving into more of a realization, especially through science, that we're not simply an I, that, as Dan Siegel likes to think of it, we're more like me plus we, that we are, in fact, interdependent, that we need other people to do almost everything that we claim success for, and that is just a fact. That's quite different than the idea of dissolving into partnership and being unimportant and codependent. We have such fears of that. I think as an American culture, we pride ourselves on our independence. Now I think we have to pride ourselves on responsibility and mutual responsibility and interdependence. That's, I think, the new growth area for us as a culture.
Thank you. If there were one principle to happy, secure, thriving relationships that you could point to, what would that principle be?
Dedication, loyalty, the understanding that you're two separate people, that you're supposed to be that way, two separate people that are making adult agreements based on what's good for me and you, and that two people does a society make, right? Two people are the smallest unit of a society. Therefore, the responsibility starts there. That how they operate in terms of their social justice system spreads out downward to the children, across to the neighbors and community, upwards to extended family, and that these are the real leaders, right? When you're a couple, how you govern each other and everybody else really sets a tone. And I guess, since we can't expect it from the top down right now, hopefully it'll start to happen from the bottom up, that people will start to behave in a manner that is, like we've been talking about, truly collaborative, mutual, fair, just, and sensitive.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And okay, here's more of a relationship-y advice one.
Oh.
If you're in a long relationship, how do you know if you're in love or if you're just comfortable? Does it matter?
Well, what is in love, see? What is comfortable? A lot of people have different interpretations of this. To one person, being in love is being in lust, or to have a feeling that they had when they didn't know each other. Well, that ship sailed, right? You're now a familiar. I've automated you. You've automated me. There is no going back to the very beginning. So how do we find novelty in each other? Well, we find by paying attention through the eyes, through being present. There is nobody who is that predictable when you're really paying attention. We only make them predictable because we're now operating through memory only. So waking up, being there, using each other properly for the good way, for the good reasons, being experts on each other, right? This, I think, is something to look forward to, even if you've been in a long relationship. Being comfortable beats being uncomfortable. Why wouldn't you want to be comfortable? But if you're pairing being comfortable with bored, as some people do, then there's something you're doing wrong. How present are you? How much are you paying attention? How much are you looking? How curious are you, right? You think you know somebody, but that's only you think you know somebody. You look deeper. Right? Use your meditation outward.